Thank you for staying with us. Now, over the weekend, hundreds of demonstrators gathered in the Ghanaian capital, Accra, for a third day of anti-government protests linked to economic hardship. Protesters were decrying the high cost of living and the lack of jobs as they marched the streets. Now, Harrison Ahogba, financial analyst, joins us virtually from Ghana. Harrison, this is not the first time Ghanaians will be protesting high cost of living. We've seen that Ghana has been battling this economic crisis brought on by spurring public debt. But what's different about this one, especially after the country has just received some of the $3 billion bailout fund from the IMF?
So good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity. Amazingly, it's not even going to be the last one because we have one pending very soon. So what it is you would admit this has been long coming. Prior to IMF, you heard the populists and the government, especially the opposition, even saying that they wanted to have the finance minister out of position, to the extent that the government, through the presidency, mentioned that we should allow the IMF processes to finish before he take a step. Fast forward, this particular demonstration is novel because it's a 3-day demonstration. It started on Thursday and ended on Saturday. And guess what? Married number of people joined, from just expressing the difficulty we are experiencing in the country, mismanagement, perceived corruption, allegation of brutalities, and all those things. So I can agree with you that it is not the first, certainly not going to be the last. But as you can see from the images over the weekend, everybody that was interested trooped to the venue and expressed their misgivings about how they feel the country is being governed and the impact it is having on businesses, individuals, and households.
So we know that Ghana has just received like $600 million out of the $3 billion loan from the IMF. Can you break down how this fund has been deployed so far? How has it been utilized? And why are we seeing this crisis if we have this money?
That's even one of the challenges with which the populists are expressing their misgivings. As we speak, we know $600 million was disbursed as a first tranche. Currently, IMF team are in the country reviewing how that $600 million was used. Details are quite scanty, but I can say the expectation to receive the next tranche is dependent on how well the first one was used. Having said that, the impact of the $600 million has not been felt. Issues of inflation, issues of economic hardship has really not changed. As we speak, the government reference rate for lending, which we call the monetary policy rate, is around 30%. So what it means is that even before you think of going for a loan, you are starting off with 30% before the financial institutions to add their risk premium and other administrative charges. Treasury bill average 91 days is around 28%. So all these things means that the real impact of the IMF deal, especially the first tranche, has really not been felt. And I struggle to see how it was used and how the next one will be used, hence the review by IMF to direct us for the next steps.
So we talked about the reference interest rate, that's the policy rate, which is at 30%. And we do know that the August inflation rates fell, unexpectedly. Do you think this will, as some analysts are expecting, will make the Apex Bank hold rates, that the Bank of Ghana is going to hold rates in the upcoming MPC meeting? Or do you see them hiking rates further?
The next MPC meeting is 25th of this month, which is like some 2 days away. I doubt if they will have any impact on the rate now. I'm suspecting, and from where we sit as analysts, the rate might be maintained. However, in terms of the inflation drop, it was strange, and but analysts were surprised because July was 43.1, then August it came to 40. It has not really affected the basket of food, the cost of expenditure in doing business and all, because individuals and organizations are still struggling in the manufacturing and service sector that's the nationwide. So I struggle to see if the rate to be hiked. I would, however, expect that it should be maintained at the current 30%.
So you mentioned the pending strike for, coming up soon. What's that about? Can you tell us why we're going to see another strike in Ghana?
Well, it's not so different from what happened over the weekend, but this one is being spearheaded by the main opposition party, the NDC. A few weeks ago, a report came out that the legislator for the banks, which is the Bank of Ghana, was putting up a new head office structure, which at the time the cost is estimated was $81 million, but for some reason, from the documents available, have ballooned to $250 million. So the opposition point is that if we are going through difficulties as a country, that to be building a new head office structure at the cost of $250 million. The federal came out to say that the governor was incompetent and was quite not leading the institution very well. Hence, they tried having this demonstration in September. It wasn't successful. It has been rescheduled to October 3rd. And I cannot tell you, it's just based on the same issue of mismanagement, perceived corruption, perceived lack of value for money in the construction, and then the insensitivity considering the fact that the country went for IMF and they thought instead of the new head office, which is quite expensive for them. And as we speak, the structure is not properly completed, but the cost keeps going up. And they are wondering how much more we are going to add. So other opposition parties, PNC, PPP, have joined in, another civil society organizations and individuals would want to support this coming up on the term. So like I mentioned earlier, it is not the first, neither is it going to be the last demonstration we are going to see in Ghana as people perceive the economy to be hard and the fact that mismanagement and perceived corruption is also permanent.
Okay, thank you so much, Harrison Ahogwa, financial analyst from Ghana, and telling us what's going on there. We'll keep an eye on the track of what's going on in Ghana and hope it pans out, in a positive note. Thank you so much for joining us.